We ended up having a run-in on a panel. And on that panel, I started seeing, oh, okay, so this guy is as bad faith as you can be. I have a buddy named Jeff. Jeff used to watch a lot of Destiny's content until he felt like he outgrew it, I guess. And he was explaining to me that Destiny had an MO that was to say something as provocative as possible, so then people get really upset at what he said.
Okay, hold on, wait. Firstly, I'm so curious. Can you tell me which states are trying to decriminalize fucking meth?
I think in Oregon, was one of the things where they were trying to decriminalize literally all drugs.
Okay, so what you just said was total fucking bullshit, okay? As somebody who's from the Midwest, the idea that all these Midwestern states are now pushing to decriminalize fucking meth or opiates? Okay, but this is where like the huge fucking opiate and fucking meth problem shit is like destroying like white families, I guess, or whatever, or white people, okay? Like most states right now that are pushing to decriminalize a drug are usually pushing for marijuana, okay? So just be careful.
And after they've gotten upset, they want to engage with him in a conversation. Once they try to engage with him in a conversation about what he said, he then gives like a very soft, more palatable version of what he said.
Okay, I feel like we got dragged in here partially because you guys were saying that the war on drugs was 100% about race, and I disagreed with that, and that's one of the reasons we're in here. But I'm glad we're here now. I don't know who moved where, but...
He gives that take instead. And then as a result, then those people are like arguing with him about the original thing he said, even though he's now clarified what he said.
We all seem to be standing relatively close. We all did. I don't remember. I try to stay away from like the super. I try to stay away from the super bait talks.
And it's not at all as provocative, not at all as ridiculous. He's already gotten his content, and then at this point now he's just like.
Somebody else asked me a question about it, and that's why we're here. But I'm glad we're all standing together now. Okay. It feels like one of those we're one of the Jubilee videos, and we all moved to the same side. So good job, guys.
Yeah, like so. I don't even understand. We probably agree for the most part, or it's not as crazy. And now the person is like feeling angry and not understanding that. Wait a minute. What we're debating now is not what you originally said. That's like the Destiny MO. And so you'll find it, for example, even recently in the Palestine-Israel situation where he'll say, I'm pro-genocide. And so then when people take that clip and point it out to him, instead of him engaging with, hey, I did say that and defended it, he'll say, well, if you want to just ask me my take, I'll tell you my take. It's like, I don't need to ask you your take. You already said what your take was. You said it in this thing when you said I'm pro-genocide. And he's like, no. Like, okay, so we're going to argue over something out of context. It's just a clip. And it's like, but you clarified and elucidated on this clip, and it was exactly what your point was. Or show me a part in this video where you said something different. You can change your stance, but you can't try to maintain it. No, you're just not understanding the context. When I know what you said, and you know what you said, and it's crystal clear, and this is the Destiny way. There had been several situations on panels and things like that where I was interacting with him, and I started learning all of his tools. So first off, he's going to straw man you every opportunity he gets.
Another. How could you teach a little black girl what it is to be pulled over by the cops?
How could you teach a little black girl? Wait, hold on, shut the fuck up. How could you teach? No, hold on. How could you teach a little black girl anything when you're a man?
What led me there?
Have you thought, how far away are you? Yeah, I understand. How far away from being like, maybe I just shouldn't have any white friends either?
Then anytime you're trying to make a serious point, he'll just start saying like, oh, it's memes or whatever, or he'll play his piano over you if you're like trying to make sure that your point is established, because you're not going to let him just walk all over you. If you ever do any of these things and aim them directly at black people, then what's going to then all the people are going to sit there and say, no, this is racist to white people. So you have to acknowledge why you're doing that. There you go, hitting that piano again, huh? He'll do distorted listening the entire time, or he hits you with a bunch of gotcha questions because he's just used to doing that.
I understand that there are quotes within Nixon's administration, and there are a lot of Republican quotes where people are like, oh yeah, like we want to get black people, blah, blah, blah. Do you think that the majority of the people in the United States that support like anti-drug measures, especially past the 60s, because the war on drugs, I'm pretty sure was like started in the 70s is when it like picked up a ton, right? And then going into like the 80s and the 90s where we get our big fucking crime bill, right? And then past 2000s, do you think that the majority of the people that are supporting these like anti-drug things, including black people, are just doing it because they're racist against black people?
Or he'll take everything to these most absurd hypotheticals.
So we keep bringing up this idea of like pharmacological similarity. So let's say that we were to invent a drug, and this is just the only thing my mind can think of right now, I'm sorry, okay? Let's say that we had things called like rectal alcohol bubbles or something.
And all of these things are his way of controlling the conversation by not actually engaging with. After we've had so many interactions and things have been problematic, and I remember on one particular day, I went on Destiny's stream after we had been on a on a panel and I talked to him as an individual. And I was explaining to him my position so that he didn't have the panel and the host and all these different excuses in order to justify himself. And then he called me racist.
Like this has been an ongoing conversation, but it's fine.
Stop being racist.
It had to do with, we were talking about the Cosby case and how I was saying, I point blank don't believe that there's any actual forensic evidence that says that Cosby is guilty. And OJ came up as well, which of course I was saying, I don't think there's any actual forensic evidence that says OJ is guilty. And so then after that, then he asked me about Casey Anthony, I believe her name was, the one who murdered her baby. And he was like, do you think she's guilty? Because she was found innocent. And I said, yeah, I do. And then he was like, oh, so you're racist.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me from this conversation anything that is indicative of some sort of racism that would be motivating me to have the position I have on Cosby?
No, but I don't remember it had to do something with because it feels like you take a contrary position on all of the popular rulings. Because I think you also said OJ didn't do it either, which is what you believe as well.
I did, but I think R. Kelly did it.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah, I said it in that conversation too. This is new information.
Okay, I have to go back and remember. But this is also combined with the dating take too, and I was like, I don't know.
So from that point on, everyone started calling me racist. And when I say everyone, it never went away. Because DGG tends to echo the things that Destiny says. So if Destiny says something, then DGG will harass that person with that thing forever, right? I have thick skin, so I can handle it. But that literally would follow every single video. I would do music content. There would be comments in there about that. I'd be doing streams about gaming. There would be comments on there about that. Anytime I came up in the Twitch sphere, there would be like on DGG, just people like saying Fanatiq is racist, Fanatiq is racist, Fanatiq is racist. And he called me racist a few times in our interactions. The reason why this is so important is because it became so bad and it was so ridiculous that eventually I called him out and asked him to come. I was doing the studio show and I asked him to come to the show. And I was like, okay, we're going to address every single one of these points individually. I brought all my talking points. I took down timestamps, everything, so on and so forth. And I brought him to the studio.
Thing that you had called me racist for.
Uh-oh. There were multiple racist.
Yes, there was.
Okay.
The first time where you actually said you're racist was when you asked me, do I think that Casey Anthony was guilty? We were talking about Cosby and how the lack of forensic evidence in order to actually say that he's guilty. And I was saying that...
Which one? Is Casey Anthony the white woman that killed her kids?
Mm-hmm. Her kid, her one child.
In that conversation, you'll see me say multiple times, well, the first time you called me racist, yada, 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 yada. The second time you called me racist, and each time I make him walk back the racist claim as part of the argument that he was originally given. And so he's just like, okay, yeah, you're right. Sure, that's not racist. Okay. And so after a while, he's walked back every single claim that he said that I was racist. Now that didn't stop DGG, but eventually we put out that content, or I put out most of the content. He put out all of it except for the Bill Cosby portion where he also agreed with me. But anyway, in those things, he walked back all of his racism claims because they were obviously absurd. And so then I'm like, man, okay, he was being good faith here. And it felt like, okay, he's at least being decent, so I don't have to be so upset. Well, I guess things get kind of worse. Because at this point now, I've had the conversation with Lawrence Southern. I see him as somebody who's protecting Lawrence Southern, and a lot of people saw that. So we had a panel, and in the panel, we had been talking about interracial dating and things like that. And that was one of the reasons he had called me racist. Now, when I took him on the Fanatiq show, we had cleared that up, and he was past it, okay. But people still say to this day, random people will still say, yeah, Fanatiq is anti-interracial marriage and things like that. Just absolutely absurd, because I made it crystal clear. I compiled a bunch of those clips so you can see them. Every single time he would try to say,
I didn't know that in such a short time we would be, people on the left would be arguing against interracial dating. I don't know.
I don't know that. Number one, I'm not arguing against interracial dating, right? You don't judge something based off of the action. You would judge it based off of the intention. And so I would say whoever I'm going to be whoever I'm going to have children with is going to be someone that I should probably think I want to be aligned on various characteristics in order to achieve what I want through my children thing. Because remember, a humongous part of my underlying reasoning was specifically fighting against some of the systemic oppression and some of the marginalization and the demonization of black women. I don't know that. Number one, I'm not arguing against interracial dating, because again, you keep doing this mischaracterization thing. People that are racist. I'm not saying other black people can't date people of the.
Well, you were making it sound like it would be misguided if white people. Hold on, you made it. You said.
But he didn't. It didn't matter on the panel. He just kept on maintaining it.